G'day and welcome to the 72nd episode of the Destiny Down Under podcast. As always, I'm joined by my brothers in arms, our little Australian fire team, none other than Myelin Games and Real Time Sloth in the cubes below me. That's not, they're not in the same room either because your walls are exactly the same colour. I feel like we need to establish that.
But wouldn't it be funny if me and Sloth got into a disagreement and Sloth just left his cube and then appeared in my cube with a good old right hook to the face?
It's somewhat topical. Anyway, moving on. It has been another massive week, as it always seems to be in the Destiny community. You know, we've had a little lull period, but now we're ramping up again. Last week was great. We had Matt put his Reddit tweet out. His Reddit post out about the summary and basically the survey. And we had a whole new heap of people just find the podcast through Reddit, things like that. So if you're new and this is your second episode, strap yourself in because it gets a bit fast and loose. But beyond that, just love Destiny. That's the only prerequisite. You don't have to be too crazy about it. You don't even need to drink a beer. I'm gonna let that prerequisite slide.
We're gonna welcome non-Australians in who don't always drink beer. Welcome.
Yes, welcome. Boys, how has your week been?
Busy. So I got home on Monday and then I went back to work on Tuesday and then jet lag hit me on the Wednesday and then I had to do a couple just preparing for the next PhD milestone and trip, and then we're here. So yeah, been a busy week. Had some good streams, had some really nice streams. Some great hosts from Slayridge came in, and we had a good chat about lore and that kind of thing. So that was fun, and got a video out too. So yeah, it's been a pretty hectic week. Looking forward to the weekend.
It is the weekend, so good. You're there already. You just have to get this out of the way, and then you can go and do whatever you want. Slothy, how have you been, dude?
Yeah, no, going all right.
We had our little Thursday night stream, which we're trying to make a habit out of. And while I was very tired at work the next day, it was worth it. It was, I don't know. We might actually ask or put a tweet out or something from now on, just random shit that we should discuss that isn't Destiny, because that seemed to be the way it was. I think we ended up talking about what we'd do if we won the lotto. And I'm pretty sure no government anywhere ever will let us win the lotto now after some of the rubbish that came out of our mouths.
Yeah, that's right.
But
what came out of your mouth, Luke?
I want a tank. There's nothing wrong with wanting a tank.
I want a tank. I just want to pay off my damn debts later.
Yeah, same here. That'd be nice, wouldn't it?
I don't want a tank.
All right. Well, gents, do you want to dive into it? Because we've got an absolute... Yeah. As I said, we've got an absolute mountain of stuff to get through today, and we might, do it in chronological order of when we found out things. So
yeah, let's do that.
We had the reveal stream this week. Probably like a really well done stream, actually, apart from that one little bit where all you could hear was clicking and in the game.
With people whispering in the background and stuff.
Listen, I don't... Bungie... Sort your audio out, because all I could hear was click, click, static, click, click, static, because that was. I have the chat turned. I was watching. I had the chat turned off because there was 100,000 people in there, and I would have gotten annoyed at one of them. It's bound to happen. But Jesus, like that was. Audio. Anyway, I know a good audio dude. Quick, hire him. He's 16, raring to go.
I didn't. So, are you talking about when they were playing the game, like just
when they had the game
clicking?
Well,
clicking from the controllers. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, but there was that, and then there was a whole bunch of really loud, staticky noises from Deej's mic, and it was like it was really bad, like.
Oh, okay. But, I didn't get to watch it live, but you had the chat turned off, so I was going to ask you what was the feeling in the room.
Basically, the people that I was watching with in Discord some of them had the chat open, and it was like, "Destiny is dead. why are we doing like it was just people being trolling? But a lot of people were like, hey, that looks pretty cool. Hey, escalation protocol, that looks pretty cool. You know, more power to them. Like I said, I didn't have the chat open because if there's 100,000 people in one place, I would absolutely get annoyed and yell at someone. And at 3 o'clock in the morning on Anzac Day morning, I didn't really want to do that. So, but. From what I can tell from like Twitter and all that sort of thing, a lot of people are really happy.
Yeah, okay.
A lot of people are really happy with the reveal of it.
We haven't talked about escalation protocol, have we? Because the last podcast was when I was in the US, right? So we haven't spoken.
You weren't allowed to speak about it. Yeah.
No. Okay, so now we can speak about it.
Okay, yeah.
Cool. All right, we'll get there in a sec. Hey, so what do we want to talk about first about the live stream?
Well, we might just go over like what we know we're getting out of it, okay? You know, there's obviously, you know, we can't really dive, you know, we've got general overtones of what the story is going to be about, and I think that's exciting, but we know that we are getting the following. An all-new raid layer, the Spire of Stars. Layer. Did one the other night. It was good fun. Looking forward to having more to do. New themed weapons, armor, and gear to earn. So, you know, pretty run-of-the-mill stuff. Escalation protocol, which we'll talk about in a sec.
Yep.
The relic weapon, the Valkyrie. Now, that looked pretty damn cool. If you like throwing spears, that's I'm in.
I've got to play that, yep.
There are, depending on which platform you're on, there are 3 strikes. There is one that's a PlayStation exclusive, so good luck with that PlayStation. I've not played one that I've enjoyed yet. That's an exclusive. Nah, it's all good.
Station.
New story missions and adventures, new destinations in the polar ice caps of Mars, Hellas Basin, and access to multiplayer areas in private matches. So it's going to be a huge one. So and our light level actually raises to level 30. So we're going to have to jump back into that for a little while.
And the power level goes to 380. Well, 385 with your
385 was a hard cap, yeah. So just a quick one on the new raid lair. So if you're standing on Nessus, you're looking up at the Leviathan. You've got the big, you know, big bass mouth and all that sort of thing. It's huge and all that sort of thing. And you look at the little city on top. And even when you get into the raid for the first time, you look up and there's that tower with the 2 suns floating around it. Placeholder.
I mean, it seems the logical choice.
So
it only just
what do you mean that's where we'll go next? That's the raid lair will be on the top.
I reckon that's where it's going to go. Like it's the spire of the the spire of the what stars?
Yes, Spire of Stars.
It's called Spire of Stars apparently. So I think that would make sense considering we went into the belly of the beast for the previous raid lair, Eater of Worlds. So Spire of Stars,
I really like the idea.
I was thinking anyway.
I really like that idea. Imagine, like, you know, the thing that sort of with Vault of Glass. Vault of Glass had a pretty serious verticality to it. You know, like when you think about jumping down into the Gorgons and all that sort of stuff. I guess like we can be nearly Mortal Kombating our way up the tower to fight the big bad, right? Like that sounds kind of cool to me. I'll be happy with that.
Climbing up. I think verticality or like jumping puzzles, like all the raids have had an element of a jumping puzzle, and I think the most recent raid lair, the Eater of Worlds, is probably the worst. Just from it doesn't feel so. You know when you just got to jump on those platforms and make your way across.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like it's not only not very fun, but it's not very cinematic, and it's not. You know, like Vault of Glass, you had areas where there was jumping puzzles, like just to get to Atheon, and that was fun, and it wasn't long either. Like it was a quick thing, and then you had other areas where, you know, Vault of Glass was like always about descending, and you could jump off a big cliff, and that was fun too. And King's Fall had the tomb ships that you had to jump on, which was a really fun sort of jumping puzzle, but didn't take a long time either. So it'd be interesting to see if they put another jumping aspect into it and what they do put into it. And I hope it's not something that artificially lengthens the raid, because I really feel like that jumping puzzle in the Eater of Worlds raid lair, it's just like an artificial lengthener.
I'll agree with that.
I don't know. It doesn't bring a lot of fun in my opinion anyway.
I agree.
I mean, to each their own. I actually didn't mind that area. It's like I went in a few days later. People had already watched it and seen it, and they were like, "Oh, Sloth, figure this out." And I'm like,
Oh, yeah, okay.
But it was good because they were sniggering at me. They were like, "Oh yeah, this is." You don't know what you're doing. I'm like, hey, just wait, just hang on a second. It took me half an hour. I actually figured it out after that. But no, I actually didn't mind that at all. Like, yeah, it's artificially lengthening the raid, but how much are they going to put into it?
Yeah,
it's not a full raid. It was never going to be a full raid. It was never intended to be a full raid. You know, like it's just a puzzle that people have to figure out. It's like Gorgons for the first time. You're not going to go in there with brute force. You got to go in there with the scalpel, don't you?
Yeah.
So.
Well, I mean, the thing that I like about. Well, we're getting way off topic, so I'm just going to cut that short because now we're like comparing. We've got so much stuff to get. Anyway, I think it'll be cool. We've never really had like a jumping up puzzle, right? Have we ever had something that you have to work your way upwards rather than like downwards?
Well, going from the phallus wall in Kingsfall all the way up. To,
that was cool. Yeah. Okay.
And
interesting.
Iron Temple to get up to the top. It's not a raid, I suppose, but it's a pretty savage vertical jumping
that was
puzzle.
a challenge. That was a challenge in itself, though, wasn't it? Like a lot of people were sitting there, like, how do I do this? And people were still like months after the release of Rise of Iron. I've never been up there. What's it like? I've only seen it in photos. You know what I mean? So,
I reckon someone missed their opportunity to be like carrying people up there. Like mountain carries,
like proper Sherpa. Like literally put a backpack on, people can get into it.
Yeah. Somehow, I don't know. They could have worked that out.
Get in the backpack. We're going up the hill.
All right. Well, really what we might do, we might move further down the list. Matt, you saw some gear, so do you want to give us a general synopsis of that?
Yes, definitely. So I saw 2 gear sets. One gear set, I believe, is from the Escalation Protocol, which has the sort of sleeper simulant theme to it, or like the feedback fences sort of theme, which is like those, I don't know, Warmind plates. I don't know. Do you know what I mean? Like it looks like sleeper.
Yeah.
So all the weapons look like that. The armor, from memory, had that theme as well. All the weapons had the same type of naming structure. So it was like Kalos _ if it was an SMG, it would be SMG _ version 1.01. If it was a shotgun, it was like Kalos _ SG _ 1.1. So I don't know if you're going to get different versions, if that's going to be a thing. I mean, they've never spoken about it, but that's how the naming structure is. So you'll find those weapons, I believe, in the Escalation Protocol loot. And the second lot of weapons and armor that I found was, I believe, from Mars, like the new playable space. So I think this will be like getting weapons from EDZ, from Devram, like that.
Yep.
That has a specific loot pool, or from Ashimir on Nesta. So I think it'll be the world-specific loot pool, and that all had a ice theme to it, so I imagine that's where you get it from, because you're in the polar cap. So it was ice themed, and most of the shaders were like this, like snow camo kind of gear. And they all had lore tabs, so every item that was from that loot pool had a lore tab, armor and weapons. So that was interesting. The Ikelos gear, like from the Escalation Protocol, had no lore tabs. The best gun, or what I was told to use by the developers quite a fair few times, was the shotgun. I think we saw that in the release too. So the shotgun has a perk called, I want to say trench something. I think it's trench something. And if you do melee damage, it buffs the shotgun and it's full auto. So basically trying to take out the ogres in Escalation Protocol, run up, punch it, get the and then like unload shotgun.
Did you guys not watch it live? I know you didn't log. Did you not watch it live, Matt?
I didn't. I watched the video afterwards.
So the shotgun it's basically like they were running around. It looks cool as hell, honestly. It looks like the shotgun itself looks like a sleeper, but it's like stab, hunter, unload 5 or 6 shells into this thing, and it was stupid amounts of damage. Yeah, it was really, really cool looking.
The other weapon I was told to use when I was playing the Escalation Protocol was the sniper rifle that has a perk that increases the bullet damage once you've scoped in for a certain amount of time. So you basically scope in, and if you hold the scope for long enough, you'll see the perk come up, and that does more damage. And on that gun as well, I'm pretty sure 3 precision shots returns a bullet from the magazine as well. So potentially a pretty high sort of damage dealing sniper. And the general theme, like you sort of see the theme of this, they made the bosses like really hard in Escalation Protocol. So like you're going to have to like think about how you approach bosses now. Well, in Escalation Protocol, especially until your max level, you're going to think about, how do I do the max DPS? What weapons do I have? Do I need to like get a shield on and then go punch the ogre so I can unload my shotgun? Do I need someone to, to distract while I can get some sniper shots in? And then, all the exotics, you'll see it has a very similar theme of like just a little bit more coordination. And that was pretty much the feedback that I got, is like, you guys you will not do enough DPS unless you are coordinated in Escalation Protocol.
I mean, that does harken into what we've got to cover in the exotic masterworks and all that sort of jazz coming up in a little while. So there's definitely a few things there that feed into that same theme. But we'll stay on the straight and narrow, and we'll talk about this right now. So Escalation Protocol in itself, Matt, you've had a go at it, so we'll defer to you, but I think it looks pretty cool. I think it looks very challenging. And hearing them say, look, we made this harder, sort of on the back of people's sort of impression of it during the summit, I think is really, 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 really encouraging. That they, it's not a huge change, but they can get in there and manage to do something like that in, a very short space of time. So good on them. I hope it's brutal.
So it's level 1, right? So there's 7 levels to Escalation Protocol. Level 1, the enemy start at 370. So, and we were only 350 when we started this. And you won't get access to Escalation Protocol until you finish the campaign of the Warmind. So I don't know what level you'll be at when you first step into it, but if you step into Escalation Protocol around 350, we didn't get past level 1. We got extremely close to dropping the boss, but we just didn't have enough damage to finish him off, or enough coordination. And there was only 3 of us in a fight team. The furthest someone got was a team of 6 at the event who almost got past level 3. But the enemies go up levels with each thing. So level 1's 370, and they max out level 7 at 380. So I don't think it's going to be something you can jump into straight away without a little bit of grinding, or at least get far in it. It wasn't very clear during the gameplay, but there's sort of like in the top left hand corner it tells you what to do. So there'll be like a wave clear that you have to do, and then there'll be a hive portal that you have to like cleanse, and there's like crystals in there that you have to shoot. And when you do that, a knight comes out. You probably saw the knight come out, and if you drop the knight, he drops a sword that you can just keep picking up, and that stays there for a little bit, and you can use that sword to kill the mages. And then within each level, it sort of progressively gets harder. You get like mages coming out, and then at the very end of that level, you'll get like the boss, and this is all timed. So if you don't finish it under a certain amount of time, you just fail it. So we never had enough time to actually finish off the level 1 boss, so we never got any further than that.
Fair enough. The Valkyrie, did you have a go at that?
Oh yeah, so the Valkyrie. So the way the Valkyrie, now this is pretty confusing too, because they said some different things to me, the developers, compared to what they said on stream. So you basically need an item to access the Valkyrie. and it sits in your inventory, and I'm pretty sure it's called an armory code, and you'll get armory codes. I was told you get armory codes from Nightfalls. On the stream, they said you got armory codes from the activity itself and from other activities. So it'll be interesting to see where they drop. That will be the first thing to have a look out for. See if you get armory codes when you start playing Warmind and what activities you get them dropped from. Sorry, Sloth.
During the stream, it actually showed up as on killing certain wave bosses, you got armory codes.
Okay.
Blue and green ones. Yeah. So that was the thing. Yeah, that was
so
the
maybe,
thing that showed up on the stream.
Were they... like maybe because we didn't get past level 1, maybe the chances of dropping increase as you go through the levels. So it could be that, because it was weird. So what we didn't know that this is a shitty thing. We didn't know that, right? We didn't know that you couldn't just keep accessing it. So I burnt we only had 2 codes. I burnt my code straight away and just fucking goofing around with it, just thinking that I could go back. Like, the only footage that we can get, and I just fucking, oh, sweet, Valkyrie. And the guy next to me, I don't think he's had any armory codes on his account. He's like, I can't get it. How do I get it? How do I do it? He didn't get any footage of the Valkyrie. So I burnt my 2 codes, and I kept going. So there's like a little pad on the ground. I kept going to the pad to try to get it back. And you basically use your armory code, and then it just spawns, and you just pick it up like a relic. And, yeah. I asked, I was like, I can't get this one. The guy's like, yeah, you got to get armory codes to do that. I was like, oh, where do they drop? And they're like, yeah, in other activities. I'm like, oh. So I can't get this again, like, during this gameplay, and I didn't. But the girl, I think it was Mav. She must have got one drop because she ran out and then she got it again. So I don't know. I think wait and see. I think it sounds like they're going to drop during the event. And I think maybe high levels, and it seems like you'll be able to get them and like build them up later on down the track as well, like in other activities, maybe Nightfalls or in other harder stuff.
I kind of like the idea. I mean, it's not really like a synth, but to be able to call on something like that whenever you want and stockpile them and sort of prepare for the higher levels of escalation protocol, I think, adds a layer of depth. And it depends where you've got to farm them, I suppose. You know, if they're too easy to come by, it won't really matter. But by the sounds of it, they're pretty difficult to get. So time will tell. Time will tell. All right, what else have we got? The strikes. You didn't play any strikes?
No.
Right. Now, do we know what any of them are about? Are we going to talk about that? Do we want to dabble in that?
Firstly, obviously, I heard about Nokris, and I heard about Zol, the Worm God. I'm not too sure on the sources. However, someone did tell me that they said Nokris was a strike boss because of the media kit that was sent out, and that the Nokris one, his picture was named Strike_Nokris. Now, I had the media kit too, and mine did not say that. So it was either changed before it was sent to me, or someone misread that. So I think the first thing to acknowledge is my media kit did not confirm that Nokris was a strike boss. I guess the other thing is I have seen a description of the strike, and I'm just trying to find where that came from, which says strange terrain strike, and this is obviously from a Reddit post, but I don't know where the original source is. Descend deep into the tunnels under the Hellas Basin and take the fight to the Herald of Zol. Stop this Hive Prince before he can funnel more power to the Worm God. So potentially a reference to Nokris and Zol. Unfortunately, I'm not too sure where all the original sources are at. I'm trying to sort of do a bit of digging at the moment and see if I can find where that was said. Maybe chat knows.
True. What else have we got here? All new story and adventures. We knew that was coming. That's fine. Did you get to spend much time in the playable space, Matt, in the actual location itself? Because that seems to be people's big question after Curse of Osiris came, and it was a bit underwhelming in terms of scope. I think... So,
I only got to hang around in the exact area that you stream, which was literally probably 2 sections and smaller than like I would say that like escalation protocol area is probably the same size as like the center of Curse of Osiris, like that center public area. It's probably about the same size as that. So I don't know if you can go elsewhere, but I didn't get a chance to do that because we were so hell-bent on trying to pass the first level.
So they didn't stop you. It was just that you were focused on doing what you were going to do.
Exactly, yeah. And like, it's
Right.
my first sort of time to these kind of events, and like, everyone has different agendas for what they want to capture. Do you
Yeah.
know? You know, some people want to get, and like, you're in a team of 3, so I didn't really wander off and start looking for stuff because it would basically mean that my guys are just getting killed the whole time, and they've got shitty footage for, you know, their little promotion. So I didn't do much exploring, so I can't comment too much on how big that space is.
Rightio. Well, I mean, I think time will tell. I mean, by that sort of token, I'm sure someone out there did. You know, someone that would have gone and had a look around. So if you scour YouTube hard enough, I'm sure you'll find it, or Reddit, one of the two.
Yeah, we're not allowed to capture the director. That was something that's very specific in our NDA,
Okay.
and it's probably for this reason. We weren't allowed to get capture footage of the director map. So from what I played, I wouldn't expect something bigger than Curse of Osiris, to be honest. Unfortunately, I don't know. Maybe slightly.
It is what it is. I mean,
if it's bigger, it's
yeah.
if it's bigger, it's bigger. If it's not, it's not. I mean, you can only play what you can play. This is the thing, you know. Like this whole, you know, if it's shit. Hang on, let me go on with you saying. I'll get my train of thought.
I think maybe this is your point. Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't think the size of the map is directly proportional to how good the DLC will be.
Yeah, I'll pay that.
Do you know, I think you could have a small map. The Dreadnought was actually fucking huge. I was gonna say the Dreadnought. You know, it wasn't just the size of Curse of Osiris that people were angry about. You know, yeah, it was a smaller space, and also they hyped it to hell. Like, this is our biggest public event area, but you just cannon from one end to the other. So it was a very artificial statement. And then, you know, people didn't like the not tree of possibilities. What's the area that keeps changing that you go in
Gardens, Infinite Garden.
Infinite forest.
Is it whatever?
Dickhead.
Is it forest or garden?
It's
Infinite forest, you nonsense. I mean, I thought my brain
Infinite
was
greenhouse. I don't care. Good. Moving
Anyway.
on.
So I think it's the quality of stuff in there, and an escalation protocol does add a nice touch to it. Yeah.
Absolutely. All right, so we know we're going to get private matches. I think a lot of us are excited for that. The ability to do stuff around, play Destiny, hide and seek, tractor cannons only. Got, you know, like the possibilities are endless.
Man.
So
Tractor cannons only would be so fun.
I think we got definitely there will be some time between the three of us sunk into silly things like that, which is wonderful. But beyond that, that's kind of the summary of the broad overview of what we saw in the reveal stream. We did get to meet Anna Bray, Matt.
Oh, yep.
So we
Anna
found
Bray.
out that she
I
will
lost
be
that
our
bet.
vendor, much like Brother Vance was in Curse of Osiris. So what role she actually plays in the story and all that remains to be seen. But definitely an interesting sort of character to have pop up. And I mean, people are a little bit apprehensive about it. They want she's a near and dear character to a few people's heart, I think. I mean, or at least that sort of continuity that she exists in. So a few people are on edge, hoping that she gets done service. So let's just cross our fingers and hope that that's the case.
Yeah. My only concern at the moment is there is so much they can cover in the Warmind Brave Family DLC. And obviously they've chucked in a Worm God and Nokris. It's like there's some big topics to cover there. There's some really big topics like Nokris, Worm God, a Bray living member, and Rasputin. Like, they could be DLCs in their own right. So it's going to be interesting to see how much depth they add to it.
I think, I mean, but that's the thing. Like, you look at Rasputin as a character, the Worm Gods as a character, not so much Nokris maybe, but like they are overarching kind of thing. Like, I don't think we're going to see Rasputin go, oh, all right, guess what, I'm your buddy now. And, I don't think it's going to be that clean cut. I don't think we're going to be defeating Worm Gods by any stretch of the imagination, but I think maybe it's I hope that they view it as a kind of segue that it brings the characters into it without, finalising the things. Well, I think we've spoke about this a little bit on the cast in that it's very, very sort of how satisfied people are with a piece of content depends largely on, how it's sort of wrapped up. So hopefully that's the case. I mean, it doesn't bode well for Nokris, I guess, being the underling. He may well get stomped.
Like, I'll be super happy if we just get increased, if they start to flesh out Nokris and the Worm God and leave that still open-ended. I think that would be completely fine. And maybe, flesh out Rasputin, flesh out the Clover Spray family, and there's, one plot line in many there that sort of gets closed off, but the rest of it's like building that that universe, building up Nokris, building up the Hive, building up the Worm God. That'll be cool. So hopefully we see just a solid plot line within there, and then all these sort of like mini other bits coming off and expanding on characters and sort of building that universe again. That'll be really cool.
Yeah. I totally agree.
Like we've said, like you said last week and in recent weeks and all that sort of thing, I think it's come over all of Twitter as well. Cohesiveness in storytelling would be incredible. I know I didn't really add much to that conversation, but cohesiveness in the storytelling, especially when it comes to the Hive, because the Taken King was where a lot of people fell in love with the story. And the Hive have a very interesting story. Trust me when I say, if you haven't subbed to my friend over here, Myelin Games, on his lore channel, Pluggo, and watch the TTK lore series, you really, really need to. And I don't say that lightly, because there are fucking 30,000 other fucking lore YouTubers out there. Well, I mean, his voice puts me to sleep, but that's beside the point.
This is going to be the interesting thing if you think about it this way, right? The Hive easily have the most depth and developed backstory. So I'm interested to see how Bungie takes what was developed in Taken King and hopefully uses it and expands upon it. Because if they do that really well and give that a lot of justice, it sort of gives a lot more motivation. Like, hey, we need to do this with some of the other areas, right? Oryx got his backstory, and in telling the story of Oryx, we told the entire backstory of the Hive, and we set up a foundation to keep making DLC about the Hive and telling their story. We don't really have that with the Vex. The Fallen sort of have it, but wouldn't it be great to have a character to latch onto and really get more details about the Fallen and when they're aligned with the Traveler and the Whirlwind, and just develop that foundation so there's actually potential to explore it later?
This is the thing, is that they didn't go into that like they tried to with House of Wolves a little bit.
I think they did okay with House of Wolves. They did a little bit with it, yeah. I think it was their first trial.
TTK came out, and this absolute wave of information came out, and absolutely, excuse me,
made so sick,
absolutely obliterated people's, thinking of the Hive and all that sort of thing. It was. We just don't know that much about the other enemy races.
I'm gonna jump off from Edsy's point in the chat. We're not taking questions yet, so please don't jump the gun on that and start typing things out and wasting your effort. But we do watch it. Matt, just a random question without notice. Do you see the Hive as kind of our main enemy? I know that it's not fair to say our main enemy, but you sort of think about all of the other species that we fight. The Fallen are just trying to survive effectively. They just want back what we've got now. The Cabal are kind of the same again, we've been sort of subject to Gaul and, him trying to invade and whatnot to take the power of the Traveller, because clearly they need the power of the Traveller. Even what happened on Phobos and all that sort of stuff in the Taken King too. So I think it's a fair statement. I mean, maybe the Vex as well, given that if the Vex do what they want to do, then we're in deep shit. But
yeah, I mean, the Hive have always been the opposite to us in regards to they're closest to the darkness, or the enemy that's closely aligned with the darkness, whereas the Vex, Cabal, and Fallen are not aligned with the darkness. The Vex have their own things that they're doing, but they're not seen as being representatives of the darkness, whereas Oryx, killed the Worm God and met the darkness and was, like we're representatives of the light and the traveler. He was a representative of the darkness. So I've always considered them to be more of a main enemy just because they're opposite. Yeah.
I'm gonna do the thing where I ruin everyone's fun and get off lore and go back to this week at Bungie.
Cool
we can do that.
Yeah.
So this week in Bungie has covered obviously the Warmind release stream, the trailer, Anna Bray, all that sort of thing. Blah 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 blah. The thing that I really enjoyed about reading in the TWAB and looking at the weapons and all that sort of thing, Exotic Masterworks. This is a thing that is it's so exciting. But before we really delve into that, please, for the love of Cthulhu, go and watch the Tractor Cannon preview. Holy balls!
Ultra Troll Cannon. It's I don't know, man.
Okay.
Like Sheik's going to have a Destiny Fun Police will have a video out of that within the first 2 days of just him annihilating people in there. So something to look forward to.
If you hit an enemy, whether it's PvP or PvE, with the Tractor Cannon, they receive a debuff called Suppression. So they take extra damage from void-based weaponry and skills, and they lose their super. Oh my god, that trailer, like the Brakazan is like at half health. They hit him several times with the Tractor Cannon, Nova Bomb, and then it's Nova Bomb and the like some sort of void sidearm melted him before he could even jump off the plate. Like absolutely melted him. My god,
I think look, I think the more this goes on, and this is just my little summary of how I'm viewing the exotic masterworks and exotics in general going forward, is that they've just blown the doors off them. Like that whole thing of like being able to play Destiny 2 right now and be, oh no, I don't really even need an exotic. There's not one that I really need in my loadout. You can survive perfectly fine. I'm sure you'll be able to survive perfectly fine, but I don't think, come this update, anyone is realistically going to be able to pass up one of these weapons. Like whichever one fits your play style. Like Risk Runner looks insane, or sounds insane.
Dude. It is. I guarantee. Like during Escalation Protocol, put Risk Runner on. You don't run out of ammo. It just constantly triggers. You just melt Thrall. It's like Supercell, Zalo's Supercell. It's like having that now from D1.
Such a good game. Anyway, I'm really looking forward to it now that you mentioned Zalo. Sign me up. I'm sold.
So they also covered in the PvP section of the reveal stream the Hardlight preview. So you can now switch on the fly. You don't have to. So you hold down your reload button and you can switch between Void, Solar, and Arc and all that sort of thing. That's good. That's a little bit of quality of life change and all that sort of thing. But if you are good enough to hit rebounds with the Hardlight, they do double damage. My goodness, the amount of possibilities for people to absolutely melt, and I mean melt.
Dude, me and Matt were talking about this before we went live, and we were just breaking down sort of just rudimentary little combinations. So you've got the debuff for void damage that comes with Tractor Cannon. So you stun something and it's incredibly susceptible to void damage. You put your void hardlight on and you shoot whatever enemy it is literally a foot in front of its legs, and it bounces up straight into it. It's just going to be death by shin shots. It's going to be amazing. People are going to have shin splints for forever.
So this is like, I think one of the biggest things to come from Warmind, and this is sort of what I'm saying, is to have players the flexibility to run different weapons that combo really well together. And I think with Escalation Protocol, it will be similar to a raid in that you'll need to coordinate who runs what subclass you're running, and what weapons you're running to do the most damage, especially before you get to max light. I think if you go into Escalation Protocol without coordinating a team and without coordinating your weapons, without coordinating your subclasses, and you're under light, you're not going to pass it.
You're going to have a bad time.
You're going to have a bad time. But I feel like there's a skill aspect now. Is like, okay, like let's say we team up. I'm like, guys, I got tractor cannon. The boss comes out. All right, I'm going to do the debuff. You know, you and Sloth are sitting there with hard light, with the void already on. Debuff time, tether time. You know, rebound the shots at his feet to melt him. Right, like that's going to be a combo that you could do that would work.
I think that is what makes these updates so fucking good, is that we can sit here, and it's not like theory crafting, but it's kind of the same thing in that, you know, like you can build an approach just thinking about the buffs that they have. You know, print out, there's an incredible list of everything that's going on Reddit, jump in, read all of that, have a look at it all, and just figure out a crazy strategy for a gun that you already have. And I guarantee that by the time you finish doing that, you'll be excited about what's coming. Because I've been doing it. That's been basically me procrastinating at work all week.
Should we go through that exotic list?
Yeah, sure. Why not?
Yeah, well, I think
everyone's seen
Graviton Lance right now, like a ground burst, and like the explosion from enemies is just redonk, and then you get the Void Seekers on top of that. So, you know, I've seen... If you haven't watched the video, like basically, like, you know, with Fallen jump out of a ship, if you kill one of them, like they all just blow up essentially with Graviton Lance. We saw Skyburner's Oath being used during the stream in PvP with these just tracking rounds with hip fire, like just shooting in the general direction of people and having rounds track them, which is crazy. We saw Rat King before as well. Rat King properly looks like it melts people now.
That video at the start of the raid, and we're talking like some of the toughest enemies that you really face. Those guards at the start of the raid, and just shredding them apart. So I think, I don't know. I mean, part of me is like, how much use is that really going to be in, like, you know, I kind of think about things as much from a PvP perspective as anything, because I'm trying to be prepared for what I'm going to get owned by. But I mean, that'd have to be a very specific 4-man team kind of deal. But some of the other stuff, Jesus. Risk Runner. So you had a crack with that, Matt.
Yeah. So Risk Runner's got like a cool. I don't know if it had this before, or if it's just been toned up. But when you can actually see when someone's perk, the Arc Conductor, has been activated, they get this, like, it looks like a Fallen Captain's arc shield. Like, you can see the perk activated on other people, and you get it in the borders of your screen as well. So you can tell when someone's Risk Runner is just like peaking. And I believe they said you even get the Arc Conductor if you've got it stowed as well. Like, it
doesn't affect, but you can pull it out and then you have it.
And then you'll have
That's crazy.
Yeah. Like, it just, you know, for Escalation Protocol with the Hive, basically you would have, you know, the Hive Knights with their boomer guns with the big arc sort of damage, and it was just proc the whole time, and it just like you just got your ammo back instantly, and it just chained lightning. It was really fun to use. Beautiful.
I'm going to duck to the gents really quickly, dudes, but please continue. I've read it and I'm excited.
Okay. We spoke about hard light. Fighting lightning got something, so increased proximity damage on the grenade, so you don't need to get direct hits for it to be useful. Reduced direct impact damage and gave it more ammo. Okay, so proximity damage, so you don't have to get that direct hit anymore. You can do a little bit more damage. They showed that on the live stream too, but
they did.
Didn't look crazy good, did it? Like it.
Yeah, it was definitely like if you're a grenade launcher If you're a purveyor of great grenade launchers, then it's probably a little bit of a step in the right direction. But see, it feels more exotic, sure, and that's great. This is the thing that, and I think we've ranted and raved about this on several occasions. Guess what? We want shit to feel exotic, and that's what they're doing. So I mean, that's always a plus. Always a plus.
So anyway. Crimson got a big buff. Essentially now, if you land all your shots, the first bullet of a final burst will be the kill shot now, and it's in line with aggressive hand cannons. They actually spoke about it at the summit, which is not really in here, but they said that they really sped up the burst fire, but then it seemed a bit like a sidearm, and it didn't have that like weight of.
Oh, but it watching it in the stream.
Yeah,
just watching the stream, it looked. Yeah, like it hit like a truck. But
it's it's the one I'm most excited about because like Red Death, really. But I haven't got it yet. I literally don't even have it yet.
And the exotic masterwork gives it max range as well.
Rude.
It's super rude. Super rude.
I saw it when they started talking about it. I was like, "The fuck? What is this? I've never seen this before. I had never seen it before."
Yeah, I've seen pictures of it. I'm sad about it. I'm hoping Zer sells it sometime over the next couple of weeks so that I can dive in. But I doubt it. So, what's next? Sturm and Drang.
Yeah, so I don't quite understand this yet because I only heard it once. I haven't read back over it. But you get overcharged bullets between 13th and 20th rounds. So if you get a kill with, which one is it, Drang?
Yep.
You get overcharged bullets in Sturm, which can be a 2-tap.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude.
You get one overcharged bullet. One overcharged bullet with the
kill
Sturm.
Yeah.
No, per magazine. So if you get one kill with the Drang, it overcharges one bullet, hit them in the head, and then one tap to the body, they're down.
Wow. Yeah. That's nasty. I know people that are far more skilled than me will be very good at using that. And, like listening to News talk about it on the stream, he said that it's not something that had really procced all that much in their play testing, but when it did, it was sort of incredible.
Well, it was cool to see on the stream. I did it on the stream as well, and that was I don't think you get one bullet back per kill. Yeah, I don't think it's a body shot kill. I think it's 2 headshots.
That's what Sassy's talking about is in PvE only. In PvP, it's 1 bullet per mag.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay, so you can't stack that all the way up to the 20 and have 8
bullets
that do double
I thought
damage.
You could stack it. I thought you could stack it.
They made a point. They made a point to talk exactly about that. In PvP, you can overcharge the fuck out of the Sturm, and that's fine. But in PvP, it's one bullet per mag, or one bullet per mag.
That's a big thing when you think about that. Like that's really the first time they've ever split, something down the guts like that for operates one way in PvE and operates another way in PvP. There'll be people that'll be like, I've been wanting separate armor for forever, and stuff like that. Which if that's your opinion, that's fine. But wow, okay. Watch your space.
Okay, apparently I was wrong. Sorry. Azari used Sul. You can stack up to 3 in PvP. Sorry, I knew it wasn't the full 20. It wasn't the full magazine.
Okay, that's probably the main thing.
PvE, but in PvP it's 3. Sorry, that you are correct.
Yeah. Prospector, sticky grenades, but not done during the reveals. It's sort of a rumor floating about. I believe there's a source of it being spoken about. And Borealis, look, I haven't read it. It looks complicated. Do you want me to just read this from Reddit? Borealis, the utility of having a weapon that can match any damage shield on the fly is good, but in order to make the weapon great, we wanted to double down on the reward for successfully pulling this off. After breaking an enemy shield with a matching damage type, Borealis now deals double damage until the next reload or damage type swap. For PvE activities, it gives the weapon a more reliable benefit than hard light in both casual modes and high pressure activities. However, it's not a perk that is meant just for PvE. This behavior also applies to enemy guardians in the Crucible with their supers active. So, if you put a void round to break a shield of a Sentinel Titan who's currently in their super, your next round will do double damage. And then in brackets, yes, that's a one-hit kill to the body.
I'm frightened.
The Aurora Bori yawn because it's a PS4 exclusive, and who gives a shit? Sorry.
I didn't. Yeah. I've got one on the PlayStation, I think, but I haven't been on the PlayStation for a long time.
I sorry, I just dropped something on the floor. I can't imagine if you had tractor cannon picking Borealis, unless you're really good at snipers. Because the tractor cannon, you just hit them and their super's gone. Like, game over. Like, see ya. And you blow them
close
away.
enough.
You do have to get close.
The thing.
Yeah.
You've got to get, like, the range on the tractor cannon isn't as, like, it's not as far as what people think. You've got to get right up fucking close.
Everyone is going to be ducked behind a corner. As soon as you hear that Titan hammer proc or you hear someone activate, you're just going to hide behind the corner with a tractor cannon.
And you can do that. And you can do that. And that's fine, but you're also missing out on rockets and shotguns and swords.
You know what, man? You know what? It's making me scared as a Striker Titan. I'm going to say that. Because you got a golden gun, it makes no fucking difference because you're engaging from a long distance. If you got, Nova Bomb, any of those range supers, hammers even, it's not going to matter for shit. But if you're using something like, or pole dancer that you've got to get right in close, dude, you're going to have a bad time. You're going to end up on a sheet montage video.
I don't think it's going to be as bad as what people. I don't think.
I don't think it'll be like every match, but I think if you play a good stint of Crucible, you're going to have a funny scenario at least one point in a couple hours of gameplay where someone's actually got the heavy, someone's actually got the tractor cannon, and you happen to activate your super and run into X player with tractor cannon.
Oh, you know what? I wasn't really thinking it that way. I was thinking more of the ways that, like, the person using the super is going to get it off. Is going to get the super off because of lag, because of connection, because of blah.
The other thing we don't really know.
What do you think?
The other thing we don't really know is at what range it's effective. It may well be, it's going to be increased range by comparison to, the range it'll fling you against a wall and kill you, I imagine. But I don't know. I'm still excited about it. I still think it's got the potential to be absolutely both hilarious and frustrating. Oh, Jesus, man.
Sorry.
So that did scare the fuck out of me a little bit.
Wow.
On top of just, exotics looking better and getting buffs altogether and just looking like they're fun again, you've got Masterwork exotics as well.
Isn't that Dude, I think that this is like, it's just the gift that keeps on giving, right? I know it's a simple way of viewing it, but with the, what's the name of the piece you put in it? The exotic Masterwork upgrade.
It sounds like this is what they said at the summit, and this is what the important thing is, that you're not going to exactly know what you have to do to get the catalyst, I believe.
Yeah, it's catalyst. Yeah. Sorry, that was the word.
So you will see a bunch of like YouTube videos with like how to get the tractor cannon catalyst, right? Like it drops in X activity, or it drops from X person, or it drops from this. And then hold on, I might be getting them confused. So then you apply the catalyst, and then you have essentially like exotic quest steps to do.
Yep.
Do X, Y, and Z with this. Get so many kills with this. Tractor cannon. Probably push people off the edge. Like some of them, from memory, I think some of them are going to be quite hard to complete. I hope so anyway. They're like bounty-like sort of things to do. And I think I think from memory, they said at the summit that the catalysts will sort of reinforce what the gun is meant to be, how it's meant to be used. Do you know what I mean? So, an example I can think of would be the tractor cannon, like kill people with environment or something like that.
Yep.
I can't think of any other examples. From memory, I think they said the Masterworks will try to emphasize like the soul of that weapon, so to speak.
I think the other thing to note too is that there's not going to be the Masterwork catalyst available for all weapons straight off the bat. So part of the mystery of everything is going to be able to, is going to be finding out what you can actually get and how to get it, rather than like, I just want this, I'm going to do this activity forever. So, I mean, for me, I like that because, in a month's time or 2 months' time when, there's probably some kind of pass comes out, we're going to get a further lot, that we can then access and then be chasing, and there's that chase again. So I mean, I can imagine there's people out there that won't like it because maybe they won't be able to get their favorite weapon masterworked yet or whatever, but I think it's it's a smart way to sort of add the replayability of it.
I think Bungie's gone past that anymore. They're definitely in the boat that it's too bad, too sad. If you don't put the hours in, you don't get it. Too bad.
Well, that harkens to another thing that I've seen this week, and it's actually the next thing that's in the TWAB, so we'll get to it in a sec. But the what's it called? Redrick's Claymore that you can only get through ranked PvP, and people being upset about that. Like,
really?
I don't play much PvP. I'm not going to be able to get this gun. This is
good.
Shit. I'm like, but. Like, that's fucking Destiny, man. Like,
that's the point.
You're not going to get an adept weapon from Trials of Osiris from, like, D1 either. So, I mean, maybe it'll get you into the Crucible and get you to get good, Like, it's looking at the ranks, too. Yeah. It's not... The requirement isn't ridiculous. I mean, it'll be hard, make no mistake, but it is... Yeah. You need to acquire the middle level. So, the levels are...
You don't lose out. You don't lose out if you don't lose out if it's bloody if you lose. You're not getting sent back to the tower if you lose. You just lose. You lose a little bit of points, a little bit of glory. Yeah. That's it.
Yeah. And
I'm pretty sure there's a fucking lose streak as well. There's a win streak and there's a lose streak.
Both. There's both. So maybe if you've dropped a couple of games, just pull out of the lobby and go and
that's exactly what they said. They're like, there's a lose streak. They're like, this is a signal to take a fucking break and to go do something else.
I mean, like this, and that's fine. Everyone does. People complaining about that are just like,
I mean,
stop complaining about it. If you want it, get in there and do it.
It's like a raid weapon. Look at it that way. It's like a hard mode raid weapon. If you're not a raider, and like honestly, of the three of us, I'm probably the least. I'm more on the PvP side. Not that I'm any good at it, but like I'm more on the PvP side. So I have less of the raid gear, and I have to accept that because that's the way I choose to spend my time playing Destiny. So if you're upset about that, come on, man. Come on. There's far more worthwhile things
I think
to be worried about.
Bungie is going to completely ignore those comments now because they took those comments really seriously in Destiny 1, like complaining like I can't get it, and all those changes accumulated to Destiny 2 where everyone got everything. It was so easy to get everything. Exotics meant nothing, etc., etc. My impression is that is going to be completely ignored now. It is definitely down the road of you don't put the time in, you don't get it. If you're not good at PvP, you shouldn't look like a PvP player. You shouldn't have the PvP armor set. You shouldn't have the PvP weapons. If you're good at raids, you should have raid gear, raid armor that looks like you know what the fuck you're doing. If you're good at trials, you should have trials gear. You should look like you've been to the lighthouse, not just be given to it in a fucking clan engram, right?
You got something you want to say, man? What? What is that?
That's the path they're going. From my thoughts at the moment is you're not going to get stuff unless you're good at that activity. If you pass raids, you get
hang on. We need to just do something for a sec.
We need to reference that a little bit, okay? All right. Let me just.
I've got a little friend in the chat. speaking like a Warmind, and it's kind of starting to scare me a little bit.
Oh. Oh God.
If someone wants to copy and paste that.
I have bloody odd shot at it. Trust
there
me.
we go.
I'll send it to you, Matt.
Oh God. Can we talk? Wait. We need no guys. Stop what we're doing. We are now talking about this. Hold on.
Was that we don't want to talk about? We don't want to talk about what people can't get. So it's the best distraction you can imagine.
This is like I don't.
Matt,
now,
don't get sucked in. Don't get sucked in.
I've got to go, guys.
Don't get sucked in.
Got a video to make. Oryx himself.
Okay. No. Is this from a previous Grimrock card? Is this quote from a previous Grimrock card? Is it Polaris Imperative Mids? This is a Rasputin protocol. Com Rasputin, yes. This is a Polaris Assets Imperative. Secured, undisclosed. This is an internal event.
Matt, the Lord just found us.
This is the rabbit hole.
The Lord
This is the rabbit hole. Matt has dived in head first.
Sorry, hold on. I'm gonna. How to derail a podcast 101.
Thank you. All right, so let's do a quick synopsis on ranked play. I've got a few good mates who I think are really excited about this. So there are 6 on the ranked playlist. There are 6 levels. Guardian, Brave, Heroic, Fabled, Mythic, and Legend. Now, my understanding is that you've got to get to Fabled to get Redrix's Claymore, and then there are future rewards for getting the levels higher than that. So you only get them once when you hit that rank. So if you hit it and then lose, you don't get it again when you hit the rank again. But man, like for me, as a dude who like isn't particularly good at PvP but enjoys PvP, I'm really looking forward to getting in and sort of testing my mettle around this. It kind of brings back that, not necessarily Halo ranked play, but like that kind of, I want to get in and chip away and sort of move forward and do what I can.
I would like to know that I'm not listening to anyone right now.
He's been suckered in.
The law
fairy.
fairy. The law fairy.
Why would you do this in the middle of the podcast? Don't focus anymore.
Oh wow, that was.
You're tearing this family apart.
So, look, just to give everyone an update on what I've been doing. Yes, I believe that is a new card. It's not listed anywhere in the database as such, so I'm going to take a punt to say that is the first part of a new Lord tab or a flavored text that was just posted in the chat. So
there we go.
Thank you.
That's lovely. Thank you, Law Fairy, for gifting us with your Warmind protocols. quite lovely.
Putting in these codes, make sure it's another ARG standing up all night. It's like, where's my glasses, Danny? Put in another pot of coffee, Danny. Hey, Polaris. Shut up, Matt.
Oh wow. Oh come on, we're not very good at this podcasting thing to begin with, and that comes along.
All right.
Oh, okay.
So the thing that you need to take away from the PvP thing, guys, is that you may get it, you may not. Doesn't matter. If you're just a toiler, you just want to get in, and you're not particularly worried about playing the actual ranked PvP, the competitive, but you want to achieve something out of your PvP play rather than just hoping you get random like rewards at the end of each game. There are the quick play rank that you get. Is that Glory or is it Valor? I keep getting them mixed up. I think it's Glory, and then Valor is the one. Anyway, neither of you pair are going to be able to answer. It should be there.
Someone in chat, get my back. But, you can go in and you can level that up as many times as you want. There is no cap. They were very deliberate about saying that there's no cap. You can completely max it out, reset it, do it again. I think it's a great way to sort of reinforce that, reward people for playing Crucible and reinforce that your time isn't being wasted. So, there we go. Valor, it's Valor. Thank you, Eds. You're a good dude. You're a good guy. Right, so podcast derailed. That's completely fine. All right, so the breakdown of it is that you will earn Valor in Quick Play, Rumble and Mayhem, and Glory in Competitive. So I think we might. I've spoken to Sass. We might get Sass on in a couple of weeks' time after this is released and talk about the sweatiness, or how to harness your inner sweat monster.
Nice.
Solid contribution.
Well, I'm back, guys. I'm back.
That's all right. So if you're in chat right now and you've got
sure?
any questions you want to ask me, because the other pair aren't fucking listening at all, go ahead. I'll do my best to answer them.
Listening.
I know you are. I'm just being smart.
You're taking the piss. Stop it.
But no, the all these changes, and every time I get a little bit of a snippet of information and all that sort of thing, is interesting to say the least. Every single time I get like these snippet of information. So RXBNG jumped into the chat there and dropped that little tidbit of information, and Matt's off like a shot, jumping down the rabbit hole and doing the thing. When as soon as I saw the goddamn trailer for the what's it called, the tractor cannon, I was done. I was done. My God.
I think there's something in those exotic weapons for everyone, hey? And I think that's the beauty of it. Like, I have been absolutely frothing looking at Graviton Lance for weeks, because I like pulses anyway, and I'm like, I love the sound of that gun. It has always been like this kind of sadness for me that it wasn't quite where I needed it to be in terms of the utility of it, but the spectacle, the sound of it sounds like some kind of pitch shifted drum. It's incredible. So I'm really looking forward to getting in and doing some nasty things to people with that. So I don't know. I mean, do we want to just say that? Which exotic are we all looking forward to the most? Matt, have you got one? It's Risk Runner, isn't it?
No, I'm really looking forward to Tractor Cannon as well. There's so many now. There's so many, which is great. I probably don't have a favorite yet, but I think Risk Runner is definitely on the list. Tractor Cannon's on the list, and yeah.
Hey, I get that. I mean, the tractor cannon's really cool, but what is really exciting me is the Graviton Lance.
Yeah.
Honestly. The Graviton
really
Lance looks absolutely incredible.
All right. Black Sword asked a pretty solid question, so I think we'll do that. And
okay.
I think, we can frame this in a positive way. It's a kind of negative question. What do we not want to see in the upcoming DLC? We get asked a lot what we want to see, what we want out of it, what do we not want to see?
That's a tough one.
All right. I'm going to go out there and I'm just going to put it out there. I don't want to see childish writing. I know that the summit happened not long ago and all that sort of thing, and that's been addressed. That's fine, but I really, really, really don't want to see another later haters moment.
Yeah. I think
really
mature,
don't.
like I guess, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you can ask the question both ways. What we want to see is sort of like mature themes coming through, and they definitely have the potential, like with the foundation of Rasputin, Clovis Bray, and the Hive in there. They're all like already pretty mature areas, particularly like Clovis Bray, experimenting on people and killing people. Our sector.
If you go off from the D1 videos, and again, pluggo, go watch Matt's YouTube videos in regards to the lore. But the Bray family they helped with the Golden Age, and they're this big, huge, like this huge family shrouded in mystery. But there is some really effed up stuff in there, you know.
I think Deej touched on it really well when he said that they're that like evil corporation, like their equivalent of Wayland Yutani from Alien and that sort of stuff. Like, and the second he said that, I'm like, you know what, I'm 100% in on this, because there's that level of like, you really need a corporate douchebag to get to the top of the pile of douchebags. So I'm looking forward to exploring that. My thing that I do not want to see any emotes that aren't the air guitar emotes. There better be none. No new ones unless it's air guitar first. Unrealistic, probably, but hey, I'm passionate.
I hope Nocris is given justice. I don't know what my list of like don't want to see. I hope I almost don't want to kill Nokris, and I almost don't want to kill
Probably too late for them to change that now, Matt. Just
the Worm God. Yeah, like
yeah.
I do think I'll be a bit disappointed if we properly kill Nokris, because I feel like we haven't got his story yet. I want to know who he is. Unless we get lots of information about his backstory, who he is, why his statue was on the Dreadnought, why is that scannable there, why is he seems to be part of Oryx's family. His head looks very similar to Oryx. We had this conversation in like the Lord chat, about he looks like he's from the same brood as Oryx and Crota. Well, actually, he looks like Oryx rather than looking like Crota. Crota looks completely different than his father. So I think that's my one concern is there's so many cool plot lines that I want to see in Rasputin, and having like a Worm God and Nokris in there as well is going to be really interesting.
Absolutely, 100%.
Which was actually one of the questions here from Vendrax's Shadow of Oryx. What are your thoughts on the appearance of Zol and Nokris in DLC? It's pretty much that. I mean, I do really want to see a Worm God as well. And I don't know if you guys rewatched the trailer, but did you see the shape of the shadow and what it looks like that comes over Anna Bray? So go back and watch that. It looks...
Does it start with D and end in Ragan?
If a dragon looked like a giant worm, maybe. It almost looks like a snail head with antennas on it.
So is this the snail head with antennas that may or may not have been on Titan floating around underneath the arcology?
No, I don't think it's that. I don't... you're talking about the one in the... Not the one with the spikes on it that you can see in the water, the one that's underneath. Maybe. Oh, man.
This is what we're doing there. Let's make Matt speculate about lore live and then hold him to account.
This is why this story stuff is so hard, because half of me is like, dude, I hope we see a Worm God. I hope we kill a Worm God. Then half of me is like, we don't know enough about the Worm Gods yet. Please don't make me kill it. Like, I want it to continue.
You want all the information, but that's what happened to Tolan the Shattered. He wanted all of the information, Matt, and he went insane.
Right.
He went insane.
So,
I've literally forgotten about Tolan. Hey, how sad is that? I'm like, oh yeah. Well, I mean, he's still unresolved. What if he is? He'll come back and down the line. I'm not going into that. That's a whole other tangent that we really don't need.
Ladies and gentlemen, before Matt goes, like, we need to get Matt offline so he can go and put all of those numbers and all those things.
I think
you need to put it into his little number system. He needs to ring up the people on the phone. He needs to get Beard Drizzly and Wally on the phone and just be like, did you see? Did you see? He's probably just like, shut the fuck up, Sloth, it's fine. But guys, we are going to call it there, because if we go too far into it, we'll be here for hours. All right. And as much as we all have, well, I don't have anything. I'm going to sit back and have another beer, but Matt might have to do other things today.
You know what I'm doing? And I've made it this far without seeing any kind of spoilers. I'm going to go see Infinity War. That's Log's afternoon after he finishes doing this.
Oh, I saw it last night. It's great.
Yep. Yeah. I'm going to take the missus, go on a gold class. It's going to be great. It's going to be great. I'm going to sing some beers.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you enjoyed the content, please give us a follow here on Twitch. If you are watching on YouTube, make sure you hit that sub button for more podcasts and all that sort of thing. Make sure you go and follow Matt on YouTube and Twitch. Make sure you go follow Log on YouTube and Twitch. And if you really, really want to follow me, like, I'm here too, I guess.
If you've got any questions on that note, if you've got any questions and you don't know our personal tags, just put them, like, send them to the DDU, and like I'll do the DDU thing, and I'll just tag whichever one of us is appropriate. There's been a bit of that going on, so if you're new to it and you're not sure who's who or all that sort of thing, please do that. I'll make sure it gets to the right person. Most of it's Matt. Occasionally it's Sloth. It's very rarely me, and I get it automatically anyways. Let's just do that. But look, this has been an absolute pleasure, gents, as it always is, and Exciting times. What a time to be a Guardian.
Make sure you hit that sub button. If you have any questions, queries, doubtful points, chuck in the answers below. Add us on Twitter. Thank you very much for watching.
Have you got anything you want to say, Matt?
Oh, mate, I'm just thinking like, what does it mean? I'm pretty sure it's a troll. I think if I try to dig into this, it will go nowhere right now.
That's beautiful. But maybe we'll know in a week and a half. Maybe there'll be some clarity, right?
Polaris. No, we've seen Polaris. It's in the new lore tabs. Okay.
Quick, end it now.
Right.
End it.
See, this is what happens when the law finds you, people. It'll derail your life. It's been a pleasure. Cheers. See you next week. Bye.
Yeah.
Peace. Start your thing again, Matt.